road, you know who I am. I'm kind of a big deal here.
Along these roads we roam, we find adventure through traveling, camping, boondocking, and exploring.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 24. My name is Russ.
And I'm Kerry.
And we are the roads we roam. We're full-time RVers in our little guy Max. We do this vlogcast 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. We have a Saturday posting, which is our Faces and Places. We basically take the camera with us. You get to see what we saw throughout the week. And we have two opportunities to speak with us live on YouTube. That is Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. We call it Friday Night Wind. And again, Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And we call that Coffee with Kerry and Russ.
I have fun with all those.
Yeah, they're
I'm
a blast.
looking forward to the one today, especially today's Friday.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes.
Friday!
I know. I'm going to have some vodka and Sprite again.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
I haven't decided what I'm going to.
Good stuff.
Salted caramel whiskey
That's
from
right.
Old Smoky. My sister gave it to me as a gift.
Yep.
Gotta have that.
That's good stuff. Just
it's
put
really good.
some ice in there and sip it. Oof.
I don't drink much, but
I might do that
but just
too.
that little taste is good. So, I'm so excited back on the road and,
Yes.
and wake up every day going, okay, what are we doing
Yeah,
today?
what did you say to me last night? You said something about how free we are, you know?
Yeah, you have these moments, I think,
Yeah.
where it just hits you where, wow, you know, I don't have a house payment. I don't have the apartment lease that, oh, I'd love to move, but I've got to wait 3 more months for the lease to end type of thing.
Yeah.
So
it feels very nice to be this free.
yes, I enjoy it and I'm very thankful for it.
Yep, me too.
And I'm thankful that we are moving on from Manchester, Tennessee, which is where we are right now.
Yep.
We're already hooked up, as you can see. We're getting ready to hit the road, going to see some friends in Ackworth, Georgia.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be very cool. It'll be first time that we're meeting with some friends that we haven't met before.
No,
on
just
the road.
online.
Yeah,
So it's a great opportunity.
definitely.
And it won't even dampen that this massive rain and snow system is moving its way into the southeast. We're going to be the rain portion, so at least it's not snow.
Yeah, I wanted to touch real quick on, Kerry mentioned we're already hooked up. Since we're just staying over, one way that we handle things when we're just staying overnight, we usually don't hook up or unhitch. So we stayed hitched. All I did was drop the jack a little bit, you know, to take some weight off the truck. And then I put the stabilizers down, and then I hit it with some electricity because we needed that to run our space heaters. I did also decide, I knew we used the black tank a couple of times before we left, and then and then while we were here we used it, so I wanted to flush that. So in the morning I ended up hooking up water, and I didn't want to hook up water last night because I was afraid it was going to drop below freezing. So this morning, once it was well above freezing, I hooked up water, I hooked the sewer lines up, and the reason why I hooked up water was so that we could fill the gray tanks.
So essentially, when you are at a campground and you have facilities, take advantage of them when you can, and it gives you more flexibility moving on. We don't know. We don't have all our plans scheduled for the next 7 days. I mean, we have loose plans, but we are trying, and this is a new thing for me, to try to be this flexible with our schedule.
Yeah.
But this allows us the ability to do that.
I think you brought up a good point. You know, we don't really know our schedule, but so we don't have a whole lot of control over that. I mean, we do, but planning wise we don't, where we do have a lot of ability to take care of things, or the things that we do have the ability to take care of, we take care of them then. We could have easily left with our black tanks, you know, because they're not even close to being full, but I figured, hey, you know what, let's just get this taken care of now.
This is such a period of growth for him because this is a man for years. If the gas tank was on below an eighth of a tank, he'd be like, we're good. We're good.
I can't do it now with Black Betty and this. An eighth of a tank is about a mile.
And I think we've run out of gas 2, maybe 3 times in our lifetime.
Yeah, not since we've been traveling.
No, not since we've been traveling.
This was when I was a young man.
You've grown.
Yeah.
And I'm the opposite, where as soon as we just dip below a half tank, my mind goes into, what if there's a freak snowstorm and I get stuck on the freeway for hours and I have to let the fuel run? I need to make sure if it goes below a half tank, I need to put it
that's
there.
what I am now, especially towing. You know, if it's below a half tank, I start getting nervous, especially in areas of Texas where you can drive for hundreds of miles and there's not a gas station. So.
And even then, it's no guarantee.
Yeah.
So have that extra gas can with you just in case. So today, today's topic was actually prompted by a comment by a viewer, Ash Toolman.
Yeah.
And he gave us some tips for when we eventually get to California and we start going through there. So I've titled this segment, Life of a Right Laner.
That perfectly describes us.
So I'm going to let you kind of take this because you are the driver the majority of the time. And so far since we've started, you've been. So
I typically don't go over 60 miles an hour.
And why is that?
That is for two reasons. One is safety. You know, I feel that if we're going over 60 miles an hour, you know, that type of speed, that type of momentum could, if we had a little bobble or a little sway, even though we have the weight distribution hitch and the sway bar, you know, it gets a lot more dangerous over 60 miles an hour. So, and then the other one is I've really noticed a huge increase in gas mileage. I used to say, well, I'm going to do 65 if I'm in the 80 mile an hour zones of like Texas, when there's 80 mile an hour zones. But once when I'm up there, I notice my gas mileage drops down into that 7-8 mile per
That's
gallon range. But if I do 60, I'm up around 10, and if it's flat and I'm doing 55, boy, I can get up in that 12, 13 mile. So I don't know, maybe we'll drop it another 5 miles an hour in the effort to save money.
Aren't there speed limits for how slow you can go on a freeway?
I think there's minimums. Most of the times I see them at about 45. So we're well within that. You know, and that whole 60 mile an hour speed limit that we choose to drive, again, for safety reasons, there are a lot of times when people are trying to merge onto the highway, or they're trying to merge off the highway, or they're just passing us. They don't give us much room at all. You know, they'll come swinging by and jump right in front of us. And, you know, I mean, this isn't a heavy trailer, but still, we've added several thousand pounds, and it does not slow down as easily as it used to. So with that 60 miles an hour, you know, and they're passing us, it gives them more room to get ahead of us quicker, and it allows me to stop sooner.
You know, I'm just going to put in my 2 cents that, you know, when you go through driver's ed and the kids go through driver's ed, I don't remember them ever teaching us how to react to, or how our actions affect other people's vehicles. They should be teaching people when they go for their driver's license, don't cut in front of trucks, don't cut in front of towables, because they cannot stop on a dime.
Yeah, and you know, not only that, so, you know, I mean, that's a great point. Again, my mind's going back to our speed, you know. Let's say you have to take an evasive action. Let's say that car does swerve in front of you and you have to quickly move, or let's say a deer jumps out in front of you and you know, you're...
Oh, that happened a lot in Tennessee.
Yeah, you're automatically, you know, I think at the slower miles per hour, the slower speed there, it's just, there's less of that movement, you know. You know, and really with our truck, I don't notice it much. I notice it gas mileage when we're going up hills, but the only time that I notice it in the truck really is when a big rig comes up, is passing us. Yeah, it's crazy. Big rigs are passing us, you know. But when a big rig is passing us, I feel a little bit of a suck. You know, you can feel we're in the right lane, he's in the left lane, he's coming up, and I can feel that little suck. It's not even, I know you ask questions, you know, have you started to be able to, you know it's coming, so you adjust, and no, it just happens so quickly and it's gone that you don't even really have to do anything. It's just kind of freaky at first, you know, when that happens.
Now, one of the other things that I've kind of seen before, what happens is you see people will bully you on the road. you're driving slower and they want you to go faster, and they come right up behind you, and they're edging you, and that peer pressure, so to speak, you see a lot more of that on the road nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's a simple thing for them to pass you when it's safe, but
that's how you and I
don't succumb to the peer pressure.
Yeah,
that's
we get in the right lane and we pretty much stay in the right lane. I mean, occasionally there's a car that's limping one of those little donut tires or something, and he's doing 40 miles an hour. Yeah, we'll pass then, but just be comfortable that you're being safe, and just go with whatever feels comfortable for you. I wouldn't suggest going over 60 miles an hour, but if 60 miles an hour doesn't feel good to you, if 55 miles an hour feels good to you, or even 50 for that matter, do that. Do what you feel more comfortable, because
own it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because really, this is a time when we're out in our RVs, whether you're living in them or whether you're going out for a weekend camp, it's not a time to stress. And there's nothing more stressful than driving a vehicle that you don't feel comfortable driving,
Well, going back to what prompted this conversation, Us Tillman, he talked about California, and he basically said, you have to do 55. If you hit 59, State Patrol is going to pull you over no matter who you are. So you can't say, don't you know who I am? I'm Russ from the Roads We Roam. That's not going to work.
I don't think you have to worry about that. Don't you know who I am? I'm kind of a big deal here. Yeah, that won't happen. It's another thing too, talking about big rigs. I used to make fun of people hauling smaller trailers before I knew anything.
That's so mean.
I know, but I would be like, come on, it's not like you're driving a big rig here. You're in a small trailer. Go, and I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that who don't understand the dynamics of a trailer. A big rig is a lot heavier, and the tractor is a lot heavier, so you're not being affected by, the road as much as you are in these little things. These little trailers, man, you
see them wiggling a lot on the roads.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things I remember our salesman saying when we were looking at buying, and we were kind of debating between the little guy Max and I think it was a 26 footer.
Yeah.
And he kind of tossed out there, he said, it's actually easier to tow one of these than it is
I know it's
the little one.
Yeah.
And I thought that was odd when he said that at the time, but now that we've had it, I'm kind of getting that.
I know it's easier to back a longer trailer, because you remember when we lived back in Wisconsin, we had that little yard debris trailer that I would take leaves and stuff to the dump in. It was just a small little trailer, maybe 8 feet long, and man, I played heck trying to back that thing up. And the reason being is, one, you couldn't see it very well, and two, it's so small that pivot, any little movement you make up here,
you were pinching.
Yeah, it really makes a big movement back here. And I've noticed with this is a dream to back up compared to that. When I first started, it was a little bit difficult, but you and I worked through it. We just recently had to back, how many, 50, maybe 100 feet?
I was so proud of us.
Yeah, we backed all the way out of her dad's area.
I mean, years from now, we're probably going to look back at this and say, come on, guys.
Yeah.
But we'll
no
take
problems.
Baby steps. We're newbies still.
Yeah.
And that was a big moment. We had my father's driveway. He has a lot of land, but it's very hilly. So he has this driveway that's been elevated and it's straight. But then we had to back it up a significant
That's the problem. It's elevated
distance
on the sides, and you do not want to go off of that.
No, so we had to go back a significant distance before Russ could kind of pivot it to turn it around. But we didn't break the trailer. We didn't break the truck. We didn't dig up his yard. I call it a win.
So going back to what we were just talking about with the speed limits, I think everywhere I see, everybody I've asked, they always mention 60 miles an hour. I haven't seen it written down that this is the speed you have to go, but that seems to be the consensus of a safe travel speed.
Especially when we went to Escapees.
Yeah.
And we talked to a lot of these full-timer people. a lot of them kind of pitched in with that.
So
there's got to be a reason for it.
I'm going to say 60 miles an hour is the fastest you should be going.
And I'm going to say do it at a rate that makes you feel safe.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't feel safe going 60 miles an hour, well, back it down to where you do feel safe.
You know, there's always, people use the interstates, but you can still get from point A to point B most of the time taking some really cool, slower roads.
Yeah.
And you never know what you'll find.
Yeah, I mean, the little highways are beautiful. There's some beautiful scenery on those, whereas the freeways typically, there are some beautiful views, but the majority of it is
great rest stops.
Yeah.
Go Buc-ee's, which I've never been to yet. I've never been to a Buc-ee's. So.
Yeah, well, we should stop at one. They're pretty cool.
I didn't realize I was in the minority on that. First Waffle Houses and Buc-ee's. My whole life, I've just missed out on so much.
Yeah, you've led a sheltered life. Either sheltered or uncultured.
I guess.
Both.
Well, we're going to get ready to hit the road, but I did want to give a shout out to KV, Kate, and Liz DC1. They responded to our vlog from yesterday and gave us some really cool tips for places
to visit
for when we get to Florida.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any? Please send them our way. Also Georgia. We're going down through Atlanta for a couple days.
Yeah.
And we're loving just finding all these cool, unique things that are even just a quick rest stop, pop off the side of the street, look at this cool, unique feature.
Well, there was one rest stop we stopped in. I forget where it was. Maybe it was still in Texas, but it was the wagon wheel.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of wagon wheels everywhere. We decided we didn't have to use the restroom or anything, but we said we're stopping at that rest stop.
Because it's got these cool
So anything that's quirky, even if it's tiny, let us know. We might be interested.
I typically will go to the website roadsideamerica.com.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people who have found these things, they'll post them on there. But you can also add newer things to it. So I know there's got to be a lot more things out there.
For sure.
And
for sure.
that's how we found that gigantic fire hydrant in Beaumont, Texas.
Yeah. One of the coolest things that I've seen so far was the big stag that was made out of rusted old parts.
And it was in a residential neighborhood. You would never.
No, you'd never find that. But that thing is cool. Check out that video. Oh boy, which one is it? I think it's. Oh, I can't remember. Hopefully, I'll remember to put a link up above to it.
He'll put a
link. It's a cool structure. But anyways, let us know if you have any tips, tricks, concerns, and places to send us. And Kerry, you're going to tell them how they can get a hold of us.
You can get a hold of us on our site at theroadsweroam.com. You can also get a hold of us on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. That's all we have today.
Real quick.
Oh.
We didn't mention our podcasts.
That's right.
So if you want to see this, or if you want to download this episode or any of our other episodes and take them with you if you're traveling or something, you can find us on Spreaker and iTunes under The Roads We Roam.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are up to date. I think there was a day or two that we kind of got behind due to Wi-Fi issues, but we are all up to date now, so you can catch up and download those and take them on the go.
All right, folks, as Porky Pig says, but that's all, folks. See ya.
Bye.